Liminal spaces. Locations that exist in between. An uncomfortable borderline between places or feelings. Uncanny areas, not designed to be dwelled in. Pokemon by Design is an odd series. It's filled with bizarre set pieces, haunted teapots, and sentient magnets threatening to kick your ass if you walk down the street. Being then a series so prone to creative oddities, let's say, good lord, it's no surprise then that once in a while Pokemon is going to veer into some notably off-putting thematic territories, areas out of place in an out-of-place world. And I wanted to explore the oddest of them all today. These are Pokemon's liminal areas. Anywho, considering this video has a Premiere Pro file size large enough to melt a smouldering hole in the side of most commercial computers, I would really appreciate if you could leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks. The Ultra Space Wilds are unusual areas. They're a small selection of one-room locations, exclusive to the very late game of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon's main story. These small, faraway rooms are only accessible via the Ultra Warp Ride, a late game feature, allowing one to travel a wormhole to distant worlds. Worlds so distant, in fact, the distance from Earth is measured in light years. These are worlds with air to breathe, Pokemon to find, that are trillions of miles away from Earth. In essence, you are searching for Pokemon in the farthest reaches of the universe. Now there are 4 areas to find here in the Ultra Wilds. These 4 are simply referred to as the Cave World, Cliff World, Rocky World, and Sea World. Minus the killer whales this time. Oh, what the fuck? And man, do the Ultra Wilds do everything in their power to remind you how very far away from home you just so happen to be. Starting with the music. How this bop didn't land on the top of the Billboard charts is honestly beyond me. But going further, each of these landscapes feels so lonely, isolated, like somewhere that's maybe on Earth, but stare into the distance and there's nothing but emptiness as far as the eye can view. Now each area here contains one Pokemon to catch, depending on which world you find yourself in. Now the further away these worlds are from Earth, not only do your odds of finding legendary Pokemon increase, but bizarrely, so does your odds of encountering shiny Pokemon. In fact, in the very deepest reaches of Ultra Space, worlds some 5,000 light years or
6 quadrillion miles from Earth,
non-legendary shiny odds shoot up to 36%. I believe a series highest. In fact, compared to almost any other area in Pokemon, the Ultra Wilds raise an obscene amount of unanswered questions, like, when we step out into this world, is what we see all that there is? Is the water world an entire world of water? Or is this just a small section of a larger, diverse ecosystem? Is this random fucking Quagsire the sole god of this planet, or are there more people and Pokemon out of reach? Is in fact the Pokemon universe populated with an infinite amount of worlds, similar to Earth, the only difference being some of them have humans? A can of worms I'm not sure any of us are qualified to open. Human-like worlds, found trillions of miles all across the universe. So familiar, yet so very alien. It's a shame then, we'll likely never view them again outside of a accidental sleeping pill overdose. Who knows? Marvellous Bridge is an area of Pokemon I can't imagine any of us have had reason to think about much in the last 15 years. Jesus. It's a small transitional area, making up one of the Unova region's 5 connecting bridges, Marvellous being perhaps the most forgotten of these 5, being one of only a small handful of spaces locked to the post-game of both sets of Unova journeys. And for such a grand structure, said to be the most advanced bridge in all of the region, boy is this place just off. And to cut to the chase, that's for a good reason. Yes, Marvellous Bridge isn't remembered because you can buy a Magikarp here for $500, and it isn't remembered because all of the birds you can find here are randomly jacked as hell. Seriously, a level 50 Swanner is like the equivalent of a raccoon the size of a fucking mountain lion, what the hell. Marvellous Bridge is actually most known for hosting one of Pokemon's most tragic stories. A ghostly figure who on rare occasions can be found on the bridge before disappearing into thin air. Confirmed in the sequels to be a girl who passed away due to the influence of a wild Darkrai, an aimless spirit roaming the bridge in an eternal nightmare. This piece of easily missed context now transforms what was once just a supremely empty structure into something far more tragic and odd to dwell in. The emotions conjured up by Marvellous Bridge are perhaps best reflected in its music. Here, listen, I'll edit it in. It's a soaring, undeniably pretty track, permeated by some deep-rooted bitterness. Perhaps Marvellous Bridge feels so strange to me because it's like a structure built for greatness, forced to live in tragedy's shadow. A clever reference from Game Freak that subtly alludes to infanticide being a generally unpopular topic. It's a monument designed to be beautiful, powerful, and ultra-modern, but one that never really feels quite so inviting. Like maybe we shouldn't be staying here for very long. Like maybe once this bridge is crossed, let's not cross it again, okay? Perhaps that's just me. Turnback Cave is a confusing area. Exclusive to the post-game of Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, also in Legends Arceus. Lol. It's a sprawling, obtuse chamber, housing Giratina in Diamond and Pearl, and the second entrance to the Distortion World in Platinum. Now Turnback Cave here is another space designed to be purposely off-putting. It's a massive maze, where to proceed further each room will have one of 3 exits to choose from, each exit having a 25% chance of being a room with a pillar in its center. Find 3 rooms with pillars in them, and you'll be granted access to either Giratina or the Distortion World. Fail to find these 3 rooms within 30 goes, and you'll be sent back to the entrance, hence having to turn back. Now, this is atypical for a couple of reasons. In universe, we are given no explanation as to how Turnback Cave actually functions. It turns and twists into seemingly random rooms while also keeping track of the player's movements as well, as inspecting the scriptures on the walls tells us not only how many rooms we've actually passed, but how many pillars we've found, leading this cave to almost feel like a conscious entity in itself, watching intently who's in it, making it all the more unsettling considering only the strongest trainers in the region are actually permitted to enter. And this certainly doesn't get any less weird considering Turnback Cave actually exists in Pokemon Legends Arceus, some several hundred years in the past, only in a far simpler form, meaning all of this, every piece of obscure architecture and teleporting tomfoolery bullshit, this has all started happening after the invention of both Pokeballs and Pokedexes. This is recent. Once again, like the Ultra Wilds, it's an area that earns its keep by violently assaulting the player with more questions than answers. Like, who or what exactly crafted this area? Could there perhaps be secret followers of the ancient dragon, crafting an elaborate altar to their god? Or is Turnback Cave like an affliction, brought on by the Distortion World? A malignant growth, bleeding 2 realities into one undefinable area. Very, what's the word? Liminal, if you may. Anywho, get out of here. I really do be spending too much time on these videos, so if you could digitally validate a brother, that would be fantastic. Like, subscribe, send me a threatening message in the post office. All would be appreciated. Anyway, that's cool. Oh, god damn it.